Queen of Pop, international superstar, actress, singer, over 170 million albums sold worldwide. The Voice. Rest in peace, Whitney Houston. Today on the chat. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another edition of the chat. I'm your host, Ryder Mason, and I'm here today to chat with you about the marvelous, the wonderful life of Whitney Elizabeth Houston, a native of Newark and East Orange, New Jersey. Hometown girl, went on to become the princess of pop, the queen of pop, dead, age 48. There's a lot that, you can say about Whitney Houston, but the one thing that you will say about her, and that nobody can deny, is that voice. That voice is churchy, and she can mix that pop in with it, and then she would mix that soul, and then she'll bring it to church. Whitney Houston's voice, she was the voice, and she will always be the voice. Nothing, no one, and we might have some contenders, but no one will put it down like Whitney Houston. Leading up, these last couple of years for Whitney, they weren't, the best years. She was trying to make, comebacks, and, she came out with an album, and she did a couple of concerts, and it was her voice was going. She was losing her voice for whatever reason, but she was losing her voice. A lot of things have been said over the past couple of days, and that fame, the fame drug is just, Whitney ruled the late 80s into the 90s. Whitney ruled. She ruled that time. And, slowly but surely, things started to fall, and she, got maybe caught out there. But, looking at it, it must was hard for her. It must have been hard for her to, her voice is, she's starting to lose her voice. The music is not, and then, you have other artists coming up, and they're younger, and they're hitting these notes that you used to hit, and, now they're hitting notes higher than what you used to hit. And, for her to, have to really like take a step back, it probably was a lot for her to bear. There have been reports that the last couple of days, because of the Grammys, she was in LA and she was partying. There was a report that she was at a club maybe Thursday night, and she had to leave the club. She got into a shouting match with someone, and there was blood on her, going down her leg, on her arms or whatever. And she was, partying that weekend, she went to the Kelly Price pre-Grammy concert, got on stage, and she sung a little bit with Kelly. And I saw while I was watching the red carpet that Brandy and Monica and Clive Davis were doing an interview, and she came in. She seemed a little, but you know how, that's just how Whitney had been lately. She always seemed a little like disheveled, and she was like, her hair and everything was wet. And Monica made a comment. She came, she hugged everybody. She slipped Brandy a note. Monica made a comment about, why you wet again? And Whitney told her she was swimming, and she was like, I swim 2 times a day. And she slipped Brandy a note. Brandy opened the note, closed it, and she gave it to one of her assistants. We don't know what that note said. However, Brandy didn't come to the red carpet. She was scheduled to go walk the red carpet of the Grammys, but she didn't. She didn't show up, and I, I don't blame her, because the question that she would have to kept answering is, what was in that note? What did that note? What did Whitney slip you? Just hours before, her going upstairs and getting in that tub, and so and I just saw a report that Bobby Christina the night before kind of had the same thing. She was in the tub, she passed out, and they had to go in and so at this point, I don't know. I'm just waiting, like everybody else, to find out what did she die of. I personally don't think it's I don't think it's suicide. If anything, maybe she might have took too much. I heard she was on Xanax, and I believe that's for depression and stuff like that. So maybe wow, there's no words. I can't. I'm trying to find words, and I'm trying to say, stuff, but it's like this was so cold. This just was so off, just off the meter for me. Last, we heard she was doing Sparkle, which they finished, by the way, and so everybody was like, well, maybe she's coming back, maybe, and now this, let's pray, let's say a prayer for the family. Let's please say a prayer for Bobby Christina. I heard that she had to be rushed to the hospital twice, having panic attacks and all that, which is understandable. Another thing you can say about Whitney is she loved her daughter. And every time you saw Whitney, you saw Bobby Christina. I don't care if it was at an interview. I don't care if she was whatever, at a Grammy party, at whoever party. Every time you saw Whitney Houston, you saw Bobby Christina. She had Bobby Christina by her side the whole time. And I know Bobby Christina is probably gonna take this the hardest. It's always hard to lose a parent. Trust me, I know. So I can understand what Bobby Christina is going through. But I'm just gonna say a prayer for that family, and that everyone is okay. I love Whitney Houston. I love her music. I loved her voice, and thank God that we still have her CDs we can listen to. We still can go on YouTube's. After you watch the chat, you can watch some Whitney Houston videos and performances. She's the voice. She was the voice. She is the voice. Last night they did a little tribute. Jennifer Hudson came out and she sung. And, people were saying, oh, that was it. But remember, the lady just died hours ago. They had a whole show planned. They had to squeeze this in. So I'm pretty sure there will be more things to come. and there will be more tributes. But Jennifer Hudson did an excellent job, and I love Jennifer Hudson, and I really enjoyed it. And you could tell she was really just trying to get through that whole part, just trying to, it was good. I liked it. It was good. Whitney Elizabeth Houston, dead, age 48. Wow. Wow. There's not anything else that I really, really would like to say. I just want to say, Whitney, rest in peace. I know you're up there singing in that heavenly choir, and her legacy lives on through her music, her videos, her daughter, her family, and she'll always be in our hearts. Queen of Pop, Whitney Houston. Rest in peace. Thank you for tuning in to the chat. And that's all. I have other stuff, but I just don't, I just wanted to give Whitney this time. I just want to give Whitney this time. Part 2. I'll do my Grammy and my Housewives of Atlanta and my Mob Wives. I'll do that on part 2 tomorrow. But this is for Whitney. Whitney, I love you. And this is one of my favorite Whitney songs. This and All at Once. Those are my 2 favorite Whitney songs of all time. But I'm going to leave you with this song. Thank you guys for tuning in.